can recall, we previously reported that a Madison County jury indicted Tye'Deshun Stevens on 2 counts of capital murder.
2 young women were at home. They were roommates. They were sisters to someone, daughters to someone, friends to many. But in a matter of moments, both of their lives were taken inside a house on Bonnell Drive in Huntsville, Alabama. What makes this case even harder to understand is this. The crime was recorded. The suspect fled. And now the state of Alabama is seeking the death penalty. Tonight, we're telling the story of Sequoiya Moni Lamar and Tye'Deshun Monique Morris, who they were, how their lives crossed paths, and what led to one of the most disturbing double homicides Huntsville has seen in years. Stay with us, because the truth behind what happened inside that house raises serious questions about trust, warning signs, and how quickly violence can change everything. Before we continue, subscribe to True Crime Lab Hub. Turn on your notification bell and let us know in the comments where you're watching from.
Police say on Tuesday, August 29th of 2023, he shot and killed 24-year-old Tye'Deshun Monique Morris and 20-year-old Sequoiya Moni Lamar at a house off of Bonnell Drive.
Sequoiya Moni Lamar was only 20 years old. To her family, she was much more than a name in a news headline. Her mother, Shameka King, described Sequoiya as a vibrant, caring, and talented young woman, someone who brought joy into the lives of the people around her. According to her family, Sequoiya had a gentle personality. She was sweet, creative, and deeply connected to those she loved. Her mother said they were very close, sharing a bond that went beyond the usual parent-child relationship. Sequoiya was still at the beginning of her adult life. Like many young people her age, she was learning independence, building friendships, and finding her place in the world. She had dreams ahead of her, dreams that were never given the chance to fully grow. Her family would later say that her loss left a void that words could not fill. Tye'Deshun Monique Morris was 24 years old. To her family, she was the star. Her brother, Dantes Morris, described her as someone who stood out in every room, someone full of life, energy, and love. He said she was the heart of their family, deeply family-oriented, and always present for the people she cared about. Tye'Deshun was known for her personality. She was expressive, confident, and warm, the kind of person people remembered long after meeting her. She was also Sequoiya's roommate. The 2 women shared a home on Bonnell Drive in Huntsville. They shared daily life, conversations, laughter, and plans for the future. There is no indication that either woman expected danger to enter their home. The house on Bonnell Drive wasn't known for tragedy until August 29, 2023. That day, Huntsville police received a call about a shooting. When officers arrived at the home, they found both Tye'Deshun Morris and Sequoiya Lamar dead at the scene. The news spread quickly. Family members were notified. Lives changed instantly. For Tye'Deshun's brother, the pain came in waves. He said it didn't feel real at first, until he saw a Facebook Live video showing their bodies. Learning about the deaths that way only added to the trauma. For Sequoiya's family, grief arrived like a storm. Her mother later wrote that the loss was beyond comprehension and left them struggling to cope. Police identified Tye'Deshun Stevens, then in his early 20s, as the suspect in the double homicide. According to investigators, Stevens fled Huntsville after the killings. He was later arrested in Anniston, Alabama, about a week after the crime. Stevens is now charged with capital murder for the deaths of both women. Prosecutors say the nature of the crime is the reason they are pursuing the death penalty. Madison County Assistant District Attorney Emily Carroll stated that the killings were extremely violent and involved 2 victims at the same time, factors that elevated the case to capital murder. Stevens remains in the Madison County Jail without bond.
Good afternoon, Seth. Yes, we now know that Stevens' capital murder trial is set for August 17th of 2026. The state told me this afternoon that they will be seeking the death penalty for the 2023 shooting.
One of the most disturbing aspects of this case is that prosecutors say the crime was recorded on video. Officials have described the footage as extremely difficult to watch. While details of the recording have not been publicly released, the existence of the video has played a major role in the state's decision to seek the death penalty. The video is expected to be a central piece of evidence during trial. For the families, knowing that such footage exists has added another layer of pain, one they will have to carry throughout the court process. Stevens' capital murder trial is currently scheduled for August 17, 2026. During a court appearance in Huntsville, Judge Chris Comer confirmed that the case was moving forward as expected. Prosecutors stated that the defense had been provided with all discovery materials. The state has also confirmed that no plea deal is expected. Stevens' attorney, Chad Morgan, acknowledged the seriousness of the case, saying there is a long road ahead. As of now, Stevens has been denied bond multiple times. Both families described their lives as completely changed. Sequoia's mother, Shemeka King, said the family is still trying to pick up the pieces. She described the pain as constant and overwhelming. She also spoke about Tye'Deshun Morris, calling her an innocent soul who shared the same tragic fate as her daughter. Tye'Deshun's brother Dantes said his family is still processing the loss, trying to adjust to a world where Tye'Deshun is no longer present. Both families have asked for prayers, support, and justice. A GoFundMe was created to help cover funeral expenses, and the community responded with messages, visits, and financial help. Cases like this force us to confront difficult truths. Violence often comes from people who are known, not strangers. Danger doesn't always come with warnings. And tragedy can unfold inside places that should feel safe. While every situation is different, there are lessons that viewers can take away. Pay attention when someone's behavior becomes aggressive or threatening. Take concerns seriously, even when they seem uncomfortable to discuss. Encourage open conversations about safety within shared living spaces. Trust instincts. Fear often exists for a reason. These steps cannot guarantee safety, but awareness can save lives. As this case moves toward trial, the families of Sequoiya, Lamar, and Tye'Deshun Morris wait. They wait for answers. They wait for accountability. And they wait for a legal process that can never bring their loved ones back, but may bring some sense of closure. The trial in 2026 will determine the fate of Tye'Deshun Stevens. Until then, two families continue to live with a loss that words cannot fully explain. Two young women, one house, one moment that changed everything. If this story moved you, share it, so their names are never forgotten. Subscribe to True Crime Lab Hub, turn on notifications, and tell us in the comments. Do you believe justice will be served in this case? We'll continue following this story as it develops. Sequoiya, Lamar, and Tye'Deshun Morris were sharing a home, building a routine that felt safe and familiar. Roommates often become more than just people who split rent. They share stories, worries, late nights, and plans for what comes next. That was the case here. There is no public record showing that either woman expected danger inside their home. Family members have not described ongoing conflicts or threats leading up to that day. From the outside, life appeared normal. What we do know is that Tye'Deshun Stevens had access to the house on Bonnell Drive. How often he was there, and under what circumstances, will likely become a key issue during trial. Prosecutors believe his presence inside that home placed both women in harm's way. On August 29, 2023, something changed. Huntsville police were called to the residence after reports of gunfire. When officers arrived, they found both Tye'Deshun Morris and Sequoiya Lamar dead. There was no chance to save them. Investigators immediately treated the scene as a double homicide. In the hours following the killings, shock spread quickly through the community. Friends and family struggled to understand how two young women could be taken so suddenly. Police soon focused their investigation on Tye'Deshun Stevens. According to authorities, Stevens left Huntsville after the crime. That decision raised serious concerns for investigators and added urgency to the search. About a week later, Stevens was located and arrested in Anniston, Alabama. For the families, the arrest brought mixed emotions, relief that a suspect was in custody, but pain knowing the legal process was only beginning. As the investigation continued, prosecutors revealed a critical detail. The killings were captured on video. Officials have described the footage as deeply disturbing. While the public has not seen the recording, prosecutors say its content plays a major role in the case being classified as capital murder. Madison County Assistant District Attorney Emily Carroll explained that the decision to seek the death penalty was not automatic, but based on the severity of the crime and the loss of two lives at the same time. This evidence is expected to be central when the case finally goes to trial. For Deasia Morris's brother, Dantes, the loss came in a way no family should experience. He learned about his sister's death through social media, watching a live video before fully understanding what had happened. That moment, he said, made everything real. For Sequoiya, Lamar's mother, Shemakah King, grief arrived like a weight that never lifts. She described her daughter as talented, kind, and undeserving of such an ending. Both families have spoken publicly, not out of anger, but out of love for the women they lost. As of now, Tye'Deshun Stevens remains in the Madison County Jail without bond. Court hearings have confirmed that. All evidence has been shared with the defense. No plea deal is expected. The state will pursue the death penalty. The trial is scheduled for August 17, 2026, a long wait for families who are already carrying years of pain. Every court date reopens wounds. Every delay stretches the wait for answers. If you've ever felt unsafe in a place that should feel like home, comment, "Home should be safe." Let us know what state or country you're watching from. Your voice matters here. An arrest has been made. A trial date is set. The state says it has powerful evidence. But even now, some questions remain unanswered, and those questions may decide everything, even with the charges laid out. The full picture of what happened inside the house on Bonnell Drive has not been made public. The jury will not just hear what happened. They will be asked to understand how and why it happened. Some of the key questions include: what led up to the moment the violence began? What was the nature of Tye'Deshun Stevens' relationship to the victims? Was there an argument, a dispute, or a sudden outburst? What actions occurred before the fatal moments? Prosecutors and defense attorneys will likely present very different answers to these questions, and the jury will have to decide which version makes sense. One of the most important issues in this case is intent. For a capital murder conviction, the state must prove more than the fact that two people died. Prosecutors must show that the killings were intentional and unlawful. That means the jury will closely examine Stevens' actions before the shooting, his behavior during the incident, his decision to leave Huntsville afterward. Every move will be measured. The defense, on the other hand, may attempt to challenge how events unfolded or how evidence should be interpreted. This battle over intent is where many trials are won or lost. The video recording is expected to be one of the most critical pieces of evidence. While the public has not seen it, prosecutors have said it shows the crime itself. That alone gives it enormous weight in court. But even video evidence can raise questions. Does it show the full event or only part of it? Does it clearly identify the suspect? Does it leave room for different interpretations? Jurors will be instructed to focus on what the video actually shows, not what they assume happened. This evidence could strongly support the state's case, or it could become a point of intense debate. The state of Alabama does not seek the death penalty in every murder case. According to prosecutors, this case stands out because 2 people were killed. The killings happened during the same event. The manner of the crime was described as extremely violent. Assistant District Attorney Emily Carroll stated that the decision was based on the nature and circumstances of the killings. The jury will not decide guilt alone. If the trial reaches that stage, they may also be asked to consider punishment. That responsibility carries enormous weight. At the end of the trial, the jury will be asked to answer several life-altering questions. Did the state prove its case beyond a reasonable doubt? Was Tye'Deshun Stevens responsible for both deaths? Were the killings intentional under the law? If convicted, what punishment is appropriate? These decisions will not just affect one man's future. They will shape how justice is delivered for Sequoiya, Lamar, and Tye'Deshun Morris. Put yourself in the jury box for a moment. If you were asked to judge this case, what would matter most to you? The evidence, the intent, or the impact on the families? Let us know in the comments. As the trial date approaches, both families prepare for a courtroom battle that will reopen wounds and test their strength. The final chapter of this story will not be written on Bonnell Drive, but inside a courtroom where every word, every image, and every decision will matter. Years can pass in silence, but the courtroom brings everything back. For the families of Sequoiya, Lamar, and Tye'Deshun Morris, justice will not be decided in private. It will be decided in front of strangers, under oath, with every detail examined. Before we continue, subscribe to True Crime Lab Hub and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our updates on cases like this. When the trial begins on August 17, 2026, the focus will shift from headlines to testimony. Prosecutors will walk jurors through the timeline of August 29, 2023. They will present evidence, call witnesses, and explain why they believe Tye'Deshun Stevens is responsible for the deaths of both women. The defense will challenge the state's case. They will question how evidence was gathered, how it should be understood, and whether the state has met its burden of proof. Every word spoken will matter. For the families, sitting through the trial means reliving the worst day of their lives, over and over again. Because the state is seeking the death penalty, this trial carries an added level of seriousness. Jurors will be reminded that their decision could determine whether a man spends the rest of his life in prison or faces the most severe punishment allowed by law. This is not a role jurors take lightly. They must follow the law, weigh the facts, and separate emotion from evidence, even when emotions are unavoidable. For Sequoia's mother, Shemakah King, justice means accountability for her daughter, and for Tye'Deshun Morris. She has spoken about the deep pain her family continues to live with, and about her hope that the legal process will honor the lives that were lost. For Tye'Deshun's brother, Dantes Morris, justice means that his sister's life is remembered for who she was, not just how she died. Both families will sit just feet away from the man accused of taking everything from them. That alone is a heavy burden. No verdict can bring Sequoiya Lamar back. No sentence can restore Tye'Deshun Morris to her family. Justice cannot erase grief. It cannot undo trauma. What it can do is send a message that lives matter, that violence has consequences, and that accountability is required. For many families, that is the only form of closure available. This case is not just about a crime. It's about 2 young women whose futures were cut short. It's about families forced to rebuild their lives after unimaginable loss. As the trial approaches, the question remains: will justice feel complete, or will it always feel unfinished? If this story made you stop and think, share it so others remember Sequoiya Lamar and Tye'Deshun Morris for who they were, not just what happened to them. Subscribe to True Crime Lab Hub and tell us in the comments, what does justice mean to you in a case like this? We'll continue to follow this case until the very end.